that they had 100 mil, while for me, I assumed that there was 1 liter. So question 8 here, it asks, a person suffering from a person suffering sorry from hyponatremia has which of following? So for this one, I'm not going to list on the answer as you can see there, but this will be more of a conceptual question. I know you may be able to see the answer down there, but the options they give us are too much sodium in the bloodstream, too little sodium in the bloodstream, equal concentrations of water and sodium, and too little water. So for this, right away we'd actually cross out C. It's not C because if you remember your prefixes, hypo means less, hyper means more, and iso, okay, especially when you're talking about osmosis and the solutions, we have a hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic. And isotonic, so iso, that prefix, would mean same. So that, because it's hypo, we know we cannot have equal concentrations of water and sodium in the bloodstream. That won't be incorrect, okay? So now it goes down to which one we'd like to choose. Hypotonic means too little of something. So in order for us to be able to tackle this question better, I would say we'd cross out the answers that also don't say too little. So A as well cannot be a choice because it says too much sodium in the bloodstream. So now it's between too little sodium and too little water. Here is a part that needs a little bit more of an in-depth thinking here, because although I am familiar with the word, this is more for you to be able to make a proper educated guess in regards to this, just because sometimes you'll see this and you're not given an option to search it up. Here, what I'm going to say is that specifically when you're talking about solutions, what I've noticed is that they always refer, whether it's tonic or natremia or other types of hypo and hyper that you might see, usually are referring to the solute in it, not the solvent. And water is typically always the solvent. So with that being said, when you even think of a hypotonic solution, it's saying that compared to another solution, this solution here is less concentrated. So it's referring to the solutes in that solution. Hypertonic is usually referring again to the solutes there, but it's going to be more concentrated in a different solution, okay? And ice would be equal concentrations of both. So with this, because water is typically treated as a solvent, okay, I would actually stray away from D because it's referring to too little water in the bloodstream. And because it's a solvent, typically you won't see hypo, hyper, and all these different types of words refer to the solvent. So the only option here actually will be too little sodium. And the reason why I picked that is because the fact that that is the only one referring to the possible solute there, and it's also abiding by the hypo, which would be little or less. So with this, B would be the correct answer I would pick. And as you can see here, when they actually search it up and read it, it says a hyponatremia is a condition that occurs when the level of sodium in the blood is too low. When that happens, the body's holding on to too much water, but we don't say that it's a condition set up by too much water. It's a condition set up by too little sodium. And because of that, the bloodstream is very diluted, kind of like hypotonic, where the solution is less concentrated. And because there's less concentration, you'll see that the water is a lot more, I guess watery would be the word to use, or just not as viscous or thick, which you don't want your blood to be either, but pretty much it'll be too thin. Your blood will be too thin to where it kind of just, let's say you get a cut, for example, it would be harder for it to, I guess, stop bleeding because it's almost like water pouring out in more extreme cases. But exactly, this in this case here, it's not because the water is too much, it's because the sodium is too little, making the concentration very low. Okay? Now let's move on to question number 9.